Diddle 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 doo.
How's that go again?
Diddle 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 doo.
Alright, welcome to another episode of Reece's Reviews for mygeekculture.com.au. My name is Matt, and joining me on this episode today is the man, the myth, the legend. Ha 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 ha.
He stole my line. He stole my line.
Surname Cashel, first name Reece. How are you, mate?
First name Fulton, first name Matman.
Oh, God. I sound like a complete dork. Anyway, this podcast is all about reviewing movies or TV shows or going out to certain events. Like
everything pop culture, entertainment, anything that we find interesting, we love. This is just a love project. I think this is going to turn into this is not like a review. It's a love project. So if you love all things pop culture, anything you find nerdy or geeky, or just fall in love with anything that's out there in the zeitgeist of movies, TV, music, theater, anything like that, that's what we're here to talk about. We love all those things. We give everything a fair share, and we just, as a lot of Aussie film, we just talk the shit. We just love talking about it. We give our honest reviews, either positive or negative, and just go on, and we will continue our countdown. This is our countdown to our... This is going to get very old.
You're going on for so long that the Avengers Doomsday is nearly here.
Give me shit from my intro. Okay.
Well, I was going to throw to you in regards to a YouTube exclusive, what you've done recently.
Yeah, so on the weekend we experimented with something new. Like I said, we always trying to stick to, we always do entertainment and movies and TV shows, but I wanted to delve a bit more into music, which is also something I really, really love. And I love going to live shows and experiencing that atmosphere. And I went to see they're individual artists, but they did a combined tour. And these are, I'm talking about Tyler Hilton and Kate Vogel, who shot the stardom when they were both on the TV show, my favorite TV show of all time, of One Tree Hill. So they did a tour of Australia, which they're still, at the recording of this podcast, I think they're just about to wrap up here in Australia. They did a tour called The Music of One Tree Hill. So they only played songs, or I lie. They did each of them individually did one of their original song outside of One Tree Hill, but the rest of the set was just songs they played of their songs on One Tree Hill, and they played a good set. So.
And you documented it. You filmed a bit and on location, and that is, if you want to see what Reece got up to and how the performance was, just go to our YouTube account, My Geek Culture, and you'll see it there. So,
absolutely.
Thank you, Reece, for that.
No worries, mate.
Well, guess what we are up for right now? Blah, blah, when I actually get words out of my mouth. Mentions, honourable, entertainment, bring it on. Backwards. It's Reece's entertainment honourable mentions.
You're going on a roll today, mate. You got a big tongue twister.
Yeah, I'm talking backwards. That's just I should have started from the end and gone backwards.
Okay, so we are in, I think one of my favorite segments of this podcast is Entertainment Honourable Mentions. We dive into things that are out in the zeitgeist of entertainment and educate our amazing audience of things that may not know about, or just reviewing certain things that have just been released. And one of those things I wanted to talk about, there was a few trailers that got dropped over the last week. One of them was trailing up is pretty much, I would say, one of the final trailers for The Boys, the last season, which was absolutely incredible. I cannot wait for that final season.
And no trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day yet.
That's surprising. We're literally less than 5 months away, and we still haven't got any marketing for that movie. I don't know what's going on, but I'm expecting. Well, CinemaCon in Vegas is coming up. I'm expecting, because Nucci Sony goes to CinemaCon and they love doing things at CinemaCon for Spider-Man. So I'm expecting they might show some footage or a trailer at CinemaCon, and then straight after that presentation Sony has at CinemaCon, they'll drop it online. I kind of think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to wait until Comic-Con, because that's right. Like Comic-Con is like a month before it releases, so I doubt that's going to happen. But what I wanted to talk about is, yes, The Boys got released, and I could talk about that, but staying on the topic of superheroes, they finally released a full trailer for HBO Max's and DC Studios' Lanterns. Now, I am so pumped for this
I haven't seen
because
it yet. I haven't seen the trailer. Nuts. Like I saw a leak or I saw an image of a still from it, but it didn't really click for me to watch it yet. So shame on
so
me.
yeah. So they released official first trailer for it. It's been very much a long time coming. We've been waiting because all we've had for the last like 5 months is one still image of Hal Jordan and
Hey,
John Stewart walking down a
remember
road.
when we saw the Green Lantern in cinemas in Orlando?
No,
No,
that was in LA.
was it in
We saw
LA?
we
AMC.
saw at the Chinese Theater in LA.
No,
The Green
no,
Lantern
we didn't. We saw Harry Potter.
Transformers
No, we saw Harry Potter in the
LA,
Chinese theater.
and we saw Green Lantern. We saw
No,
Transformers
no,
in Orlando.
we went to see Transformers, but we fell asleep because we were exhausted.
Then we went back and saw it.
No, we saw Green Lantern because
I'm 95% sure we saw it. I have a distinct memory of us going to the Chinese theater and someone walking in and giving us a debrief on it.
No, well, I'm pretty confident we saw it at AMC because the flooring was rubber and it was only like about 5 other people in the cinema. And I just remember the outsides of it too.
I remember that, us not being many people in the cinema, but I have a 95, I'm like literally 95 or 99% sure we saw that LA along with Harry Potter.
Well, either way, no, because Harry Potter we saw in the 4DX cinemas, the seats.
Which is the same complex at the Chinese theater.
Nah, I'm pretty confident that we saw it.
You're gonna have to go back. You're gonna have to go back through your footage and your check-ins to see.
I'm pretty confident we saw it. Either way, we saw it we saw Green Lantern at the cinema. So, and there was only like 5 other people in the cinema. That was the point I was trying to get across. Okay,
jeez. Well, yeah. So we really finally got an official trailer for it, and I've gotten this. I've got pretty much a debrief from online, which is for sure from Hollywood Reporter. So the Green Lanterns are ready for action for the new DC universe. HBO has unveiled the first trailer for DC Studios' Lanterns, set to premiere in August. Lanterns centers around Hal Jordan and a new recruit, John Stewart, as they investigate a murder in Nebraska. As Green Lanterns, the two are intergalactic peacekeepers who wear emerald rings that give them the power to create green light construct of any shape or size. The two must use their abilities to uncover a dark mystery and reckoning that could destroy them all. This trailer shows the buddy cop relationship between Hal and John as the elder Green Lantern shows the new recruit the ropes. In opening moments, Hal drives car off a cliff and forces John to use his quick thinking and Green Lantern powers to save himself. The two must learn to work together to solve the mysterious murder in the small town. There's a quick shot of the Green Lantern costume, a ring, and the power battery, plus a reference to Chip, an extraterrestrial Green Lantern who looks like a squirrel. So that's pretty much the debrief of it. So yeah, I loved the trailer. It's definitely, you're feeling like what James Gunn was promised, but we're getting different. Even though I didn't like the movie, I'm seem to be quoting a lot different themes. And it's definitely showing you different tones that they're showing. So you had Superman come out, Peacemaker's a different tone. Now you got this Green Lantern show, it's going to be a completely different tone as well. And what they're pretty much saying is that this is going to be like it's a murder mystery in the style of True Detective, which is very got me intriguing. And the fact that you had this entire trailer, you didn't really see any superpowers, you didn't see any green emerald flashy costumes. It was all based on the characters and the story, and the relationship between, pretty much between John Stewart and Hal Jordan, pretty much Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre. You can already tell their chemistry is on point. Like they've got the one running for what they're shown in the trailers. So I was so thrilled. Like the fact that you've got that one shot when they're just driving down the road, and he just lets the car go off the cliff, like the blurb said, and then just let John Stewart just fend for himself. I went, this is just what I want. I want these two characters together. And the fact that I think one of the big taglines, what I find is that, like they said at the end of this blurb, is that I'm the only human here. The only other green. I guess Green Lantern calls a bunch of aliens. One of them is an effing squirrel. So, but I because we know, okay, if anyone is listening to this who does not want to hear any spoilers, even though this is not a spoiler, this was made public months ago. But if you want if you want to know anything about the Lantern series, skip ahead. Okay, you've been pre-warned. Okay, countdown is your mark. So we all know that in this series, that Guy Gardner, played by Nathan Fillion, is in this series. Now, a lot of speculation is in about this series is that the murder mystery is Guy Gardner. So Guy Gardner comes up, he gets killed, and then the mystery is about solving that. I personally don't think that they would have introduced Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, in the Superman movie, then bring him and have him as a quick cameo in Peacemaker, and then bring him into the Lantern series and kill him off. I don't think James Gunn would have done that, but James Gunn is also notorious of killing off fan favorite characters, and the one thing Gunn has said that's going to be different to Marvel is if the character dies, they are dead. There's no resurrections. They are dead. So I'm so looking forward to this series, just to the fact that it's a different tone, different feel. We're getting so many different versions of the DC universe. The fact that we're getting a body horror film in the mark of Clayface this year is going to be like so that only DC has that gallery that you can kind of do that. Marvel's set themselves a different way that they're doing their films, which is fantastic. It works for them. It's just fantastic. But the way that DC's done it, they know they've got these different style of characters and they can work with them to do different things. So they've got a body horror, they've got a murder mystery drama, they've got a high aspect sci-fi fantasy film in Superman. They've got all this different stuff down the pipeline that they can do. So I am so intrigued about this trailer. Now, from what you said, you haven't seen the trailer, but I would assume that's going to be on your ticket to watch after this recording.
Correct.
But
yes.
what's your anticipation for the series, and what do you know about the series to come to
Well, I
go
know
into it?
as what you just told me. So, and other than that, I'm still waiting to watch Supergirl. So, and I haven't even watched the Peacemaker TV series yet.
Oh, really?
No, I've watched
Okay.
the Suicide Squad in order for the Peacemaker, and I've seen Superman, James Gunn version, but one step at a time for me.
Yeah.
So, and what's the other show that's also on HBO Max that's
Creature Commandos.
yeah, I haven't seen that.
The animated series that Gunn said that started off the DC universe, but everyone knows it started off with Superman. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
But no, I'm looking forward to watching it all when it all comes out.
Cool. Yeah, so that was the first topic. Yeah, I said I loved the trailer. It was great. It was what I wanted. I didn't need to see any flashy superhero exciting things. Yeah, that would have been great to see, but I didn't need to see it for this first official look at it. I just wanted to see I wanted to see if Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre had that chemistry of having that buddy cop and that rivalry with being Hal Jordan being the senior Green Lantern and him passing on the mantle to John Stewart, and the fact that the trailer opened up with John Stewart saying, "You've been training me for 6 months, and I haven't even held the ring." So he's been training, but he hasn't actually held the ring before. So he's still got that. They're giving us some inkling of what the story and where the thing's going to be situated. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what this trailer brings, and I can't wait for the series to come out.
Yeah. Excellent.
Alrighty, going into my next one. Now this is kind of a funny, like we talked about, we reviewed a series in this universe. I think it was last week, and we're going into that world again. I'm talking about the world of Westeros, Game of Thrones. So it was announced towards the end of last week that Game of Thrones movie in the works at Warner Brothers from Andor writer. So that has got me so intrigued. Now I want to read this, not at length, but just a short part of it from the. I got this from the Hollywood Reporter. So winter is coming to the big screen. A Game of Thrones movie is in the works at Warner Brothers from House of Cards showrunner and Andor writer Bew Willimon. Apologize if mispronounced, but it's Willimon. He already submitted a draft according to Page Six Hollywood, which broke the news of the project. A director hasn't been set, nor have any cast members. However, the outlet noted it's unclear whether the Game of Thrones film will actually be made, given the news that Warner Brothers is in process of being sold to Paramount Skydance. If the merger is approved, new management could scrap the movie in development. At the same time, Game of Thrones is one of the company's crown jewels, and Paramount CEO David Ellison has pledged to release 30 films theatrically once the two media giants become one. That means they'll need plenty of material to populate their joint slates. So, although plot details haven't been confirmed, the story is reportedly about Aegon I, the founder of Targaryen dynasty, and his conquest of Westeros a few centuries before the original Game of Thrones television series. Aegon has never been appeared on screen. So pretty much the whole series is going to be based on Aegon First Targaryen, which him and his, this is correct, sister wives, keeping in the tradition of Game of Thrones. He's got two wives, and they're both his sisters to keep in the family. And it's his conquest of Westeros. So he comes over from the Valyrian country and conquers Westeros and the kingdoms and forges the Iron Throne. So that itself just shows epic and definitely warrant to be on a big screen scale. So that this does go through, and the fact that they've got women on hand who show run House of Cards and it wrote Andor. Like Andor was absolutely brilliant. The writing of that show was phenomenal. There's a reason why it was nominated for Emmys. It was so brilliantly written, and the fact that they've got this guy on hand to pen the script for a Game of Thrones series based on Aegon just shows how much that confidence they have in. So I do hope this news goes through with the merger and everything, because I am so intrigued about this universe and how expansive it can be. Like we've had Game of Thrones, we've had House of the Dragon, which is absolutely brilliant. We just finished off with Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which was a good change of pace and just shows you that they can do so many different stories within this universe. And the fact that even though some people have issues about doing prequels, the fact that they've got this story that has never been told about the conquering of Westeros and origin of and the creation of the Iron Throne and going through and conquering all the seven kingdoms. This is a story that could be told very much epically in a big screen adaptation way. So I really hope that they did go through with this, because I was so love to see this story told and on that very epic scale, and see how they can translate from the small screen to the big screen. Because even though it hasn't, like, they haven't had a movie, whenever they premiered, I think that they premiered the last couple of episodes of Game of Thrones on the big screen before they went on to HBO, and I think they did the same thing for House of the Dragon. So they have put these things in cinemas, just like Netflix has experimented that with Stranger Things. Netflix is premiering I think the first two episodes of One Piece on the big screen. So I think that Game of Thrones and the way that they open up that world and how it's curated, I think it fits going the translation to the big screen, and the fandom that has around the world. I think the fandom will show up for it, especially with the fact that how popular this series has continued to be past Game of Thrones into House of the Dragon and Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and the way that the scale of this film is looking to be. You're gonna have a lot of people who may have never watched Game of Thrones, as long as they succeed on the marketing to make sure it's a four quadrant film that can be appealing to someone who hasn't watched Game of Thrones, like a certain Matt Man on our podcast who's never watched Game of Thrones. If they can appeal to you with the marketing of a film like this, of a fantasy, medieval, like that kind of style of film, and bring you on board, I think it could do very, very well. So, two questions for you, Maddie.
Sure.
If you what's your thoughts of the news about them potentially pretty much going into wanting to translate to a screen of a Game of Thrones film with the story that they have in mind? And do you think the audience, if it goes through, will be open for a film like that to be done?
I would watch it out of curiosity, even though, as you mentioned, that I have not seen an episode of Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon or Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I haven't read the books either. But it's just like, say, with X-Files, when they brought those movies out, they also had to appeal to people who had not watched the TV show. So they had to, like, if people see the movie and it's like, all right, oh, this is interesting. It's kind of like the hook to get them into the series. And I know people when the first movie came out, I do remember some friends all saying that they haven't watched X-Files, but after watching that movie, it's like, oh, what, now I've got to go back and watch those episodes on VHS at the time. And then, yeah, so if anything, it'll be kind of like that for me. So
I think
if I watch the movie, it could be, I might as well go back to the beginning and watch.
Yeah, and I think it's going to lead a lot of people the same way because the fact that it is a prequel and it's the foundation of the creation of Westeros.
Yep.
And how everything comes to be. So this film does get made, they can pretty much watch it as an entire saga. So they can start off with this movie, go into House of the Dragon, and then House of the Dragon will end. That will lead you into Game of Thrones.
Yep.
Once you'll finish House of the Dragon, go into Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and then from Night of the Seven Kingdoms you'll go into Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It's like a good continuation of a whole picture story you can get. So yeah, I do believe that, and I think I don't know. Like I personally think, like if you would to give it a go, I think if you couldn't get into Game of Thrones, maybe see what you could think with House of the Dragon.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll look into it. So, yeah,
that's for our audience. That's Matthew's talk of nope, ain't gonna happen.
You know me too well.
Yep, pretty much. If you go, oh, we'll see, which means that it's Matt's talk of, yeah, it's not going to happen. So, but yeah, so I thought that was great news. They came out. I really, it's fact that it's kind of sad, like the article said, that this is all depending on what's going on with Paramount Skydance if the deal goes through, because even though the scripts are penned to be written, and the deal with Paramount won't go through for at least another 12 or 14 months. The script is still being written, and it's going to take a lot of time if the script gets greenlit and things like that. So by the time all that kind of happens, that deal will pretty much always be done and dusted with Paramount, and then Paramount might come in and go, nope, we want to take Game of Thrones in a completely different direction.
Yeah.
So we just don't know, but I hope this thing goes through, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens.
Cool. All right. What's your next? Your third and final.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of things I could have talked about. Scream 7 was in the news again, so I could have talked about that. But I wanted to do something a bit more of a lighter point because I am a big fan of Disney and Pixar. And I wanted to talk about Disney Pixar for a bit, which I think you might have a bit more of a say on this one. So it was in the news this week that Pixar has officially announced that Monsters, Inc. 3 is in the works.
Mm-hmm.
We found that at the Investors Day about I think last year or the year before that Incredibles 3 was also in production as well, and they're also releasing Coco 2 was released too. So we've got Monsters Inc. 3 and Coco 2 is
otherwise known as Tuco.
Tuco. That's gonna be
so anything that's a sequel, like a second movie or whatever. I always give it the Too Fast, Too Furious.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
So Monsters Inc. 3 and Coco 2 is in the works at Pixar, and Incredibles 3 has officially, like I said, was already previously announced, but has actually given a release year. It's coming out in 2028. So that is fantastic news. I have a fondness for Monsters Inc. I wasn't a huge fan of Monsters University, but it was still a semi-decent film to begin with.
And so did you say Incredibles 3?
Yes.
So it'll be Incredibles 3 Tokyo Drift.
Oh, jeez. People save me now. Okay, so...
Hey, you like those movies?
I do, up until a certain point.
Yeah.
Up until a certain point. We don't talk about 9 and 10. But I'm a fan of these films. I love the Monsters Inc. first one I have a soft spot for. I wasn't a big fan of Monsters University. Love the Incredibles films. I love the first one. I love the second one. I think the first one is better than the second one, but I still had a fun time in the Incredibles 2. Coco was an amazing surprise to me. I was late to the party with Coco, but when I watched it, I fell in love with that film. It was so beautiful, and the way it was written and the way it was executed was fantastic. Now, I can already, so I just want to read this out a little bit. So, in a recent profile with the Wall Street Journal, promoting Pixar's latest movie Hopper, which has been doing very well at the box office, which is great to see. Great to hear. The publication revealed that the studio is developing a third Monsters Inc. film. Monsters Inc. Directed by now Pixar chief executive Pete Docter, um, debuted in 2001. And Billy Crystal and John Goodwin looks like to be returning. What else we've got here? So while no further details were revealed about who will return, or its director and updates were shared on other future Pixar projects. According to WSJ, Toy Story 5 is anticipated to be another blockbuster for the studio. Other beloved Pixar films are also continuing. Incredibles 3 is set to release in 2028, while a Coco sequel is expected in 2029.
Cool.
Now, I
have zero interest in any of them. Just putting it out there.
Not even The Incredibles?
Not even The Incredibles. I've seen the first one. I saw the first one at Jamaica Street Cinemas.
If anyone can't see us right now, I'm just slowly just passing away and dying off my chair. I cannot believe you don't like The Incredibles.
Oh, I don't really.
It's right up our alley.
I know, but I just don't.
Good.
I just don't care.
Oh, dude. Okay. Okay. I would just slowly just break my heart with this break. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've already some pundits online that I watch and listen to have started doing the stereotypical.
I will tell you one movie which I am interested. One animated movie that I am looking forward to. It's not coming out this year. It's coming out next year.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guess what it is? It's a Disney movie.
Oh, is it Simpsons?
Hey, Simpsons movie too. Yeah.
Okay.
See, I'm into my. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Excellent.
Excellent. Okay.
Exactly.
Jeez, this is going way off track.
Let's go for the Simpsons movie. Don't see Incredibles 3. Save your money, save your pocket money, and go see The Simpsons in 2027.
Jeez.
I'm sorry, I've lost it.
Okay, I'll try to go back on track now. So I've already seen online some pundits saying this. Some people are defending it, and everyone's saying, "Why is Disney doing all these sequels?
Because they can."
Where's all the originals? And I say, you're an idiot. You're just an idiot. If you think that Disney Pixar don't make anything original, and you find out and you want to know why they're making sequels, it's because of you,
the consumer.
The consumer. Because contrary to popular belief, if you go back through the facts over this last at least like 10 years, like 5 to 10 years, there have been so many at least 10 original. Well, one can be slowly classified as a sequel, but it's not.
Reece, would you like it if I talk like Homer throughout the rest of the episode? I'm purposely trying to throw you off here.
It's working. So it's contrary to popular belief, there has been 10 films that have been original, which have not done very well, and then you've got sequels that have been made amongst that who've done very well. So I want to throw some facts to our audience to kind of put this kind of notion.
Can I put my hand up? Can I put my hand up here? More or less, it gets a good hit rate on their streaming service because they also look at those stats too and see what constantly gets played over and over and over again.
You do, I do, and I think that's why one of the films I'll be talking about will go down that route.
One stage that Disney Plus, I think, before they, who was it? Before the for the most amount of streaming or whatever, non-stop or just repetitive or whatever, was Monsters Inc. Someone had
Moana.
constantly, huh?
I
No,
think it's
no, no,
Moana.
no. It was, oh, it might have been Moana. Yeah.
Moana. I think 20. I think like it was last year or the year before. The most streamed film of that year was a theatrical release film, Moana. And
Okay.
like you go through all the major streamings, all the films that was released in that year, when Moana was number one, all of them, I think, except for one, was a
Oh, okay.
theatrical release
Well,
film.
I guess, sorry. Well, I guess when Disney Plus first came out, the first year, the most streamed film was Monsters Inc. because someone had played
Oh, in
it.
the first year, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking like I think when they released the data for 2024, I think it was, Moana was the most streamed film of that year,
Yeah.
and things like that. So yeah, these are all the like these are the list of the films that I've researched and picked up on that came out in his last like 5 or 10 years, which I can throw some data out to our audience to educate in that way. So when they say Disney or Pixar or Hollywood doesn't make anything original, well, I say look at the facts. They do. You just don't go out and see them. And the reason why Hollywood and Disney Pixar in this instance make sequels is because what talks? Money. You go out to see these sequels, they make a ton of money, they will make another one. And they are and it's Disney Pixar is one of the few studios where they won't make a sequel for the sake of sequel for the sake of it. There's a reason why we waited so long for Incredibles 2. There's a reason why we waited so long for Inside Out 2. Is because they wanted to wait for a great story to come forward. They needed someone to go walk into the writer's room saying, I have an idea. Here it is. And they're going, yep, that's good. Let's greenlight it. Let's go. So over the last of recent, these are some films that have came out. We had Onward, and please jump in if you have actually seen any of these
I
films.
will. I will.
Okay, so Onward, that reached about 141. That earned about 141.9 million at the box office. That one was a great film. That one had voice performances by Chris Pratt and Tom Holland trying to find their father. That was a beautiful film and should be seen more. Another film that came out that unfortunately went straight to streaming was Soul. Um, and also at around the same time was a film which underrated in a way was Luca, which I thought was great, kind of a great little film, but it went straight to streaming and lost out on that. And the same thing that went to was victim of the straight to streaming era within that COVID point was Turning Red, which should have had a theatrical release because that film is fantastic. Another film got released within that period was Raya and the Last Dragon that earned 116.2 million. I was late to the party on that one, and I recently watched it. I think sometime last year, and that film I thoroughly enjoyed. That was a great one. We had Encanto for 256.8 million, which is getting a great response. I think it's getting a theme park world and Disney World at the moment. They're currently creating it, and I think they're announcing a sequel to that at the moment. Strange World did not do very well at 73.6 million, which a lot of people didn't like, which I haven't seen. They had Elemental, had one of the highest ones they did at recent, which is 496.4 million, but a lot of people, that was all word of mouth. So a lot of that film did not do very well on its opening weekend, but word of mouth just went out saying how fantastic it was, and it grew and grew. I can contest to that. Elemental is one, besides Coco, is one of my favorite of most recent Disney Pixar films that I actually love. It was made so very well. Heartwarming story about what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? What's that word when someone comes to tries to retreat from go from tries to retreat to another country. What's the word I'm looking for?
Uh,
Oh,
migrate. Refuge.
yeah, refugees, like refugee and immigrants and things like that. It's about an immigrant story, which is beautifully told. And then a really kind of bad film called Wish that made 238 million. I couldn't get through Wish. I think I got through 20 minutes of it and I had to turn it off. I just didn't like they changed up the animation style and
Mm-hmm.
the story didn't grab me and things like that. So that's all original. All every single one of those films were original. and look how badly they did. Now, when you kind of look in before and after those stretch of films, like before all that, you had Toy Story 4, which earned 1.7 billion, 1.07 billion, sorry. Frozen 2 that earned 1.45 billion. And then after all these original films came out, you had Inside Out 2, 1.69 billion. You had Moana 2 for 1.05 billion. And quite recently, last year, you had Zootopia 2 for 1.86 billion. So that just tells you all you need to know. Like all these original films, a lot of them were great films. No one went out to see them and support them. But then you've got franchises like Toy Story, like Frozen, like Inside Out and Moana that they're reaching over $1 billion, and that's is talking to the studios about money coming in, and that's what they're going to put into production. They are still bringing out all these original films. Like I said, at the moment, we have Hoppers in cinemas at the moment. Now that's doing okay, but that could be doing more. But not many people are supporting originals. But then everyone's just waiting for the next animation film coming out this year, which is going to be Toy Story 5 from Disney and Pixar. I guarantee that's going to be a massive success, and Hoppers won't even come close. So that just shows you the style that we are currently looking at in that point. So I just wanted to show you those facts and go through and like the fact of we've got some more sequels coming on the way and kind of put to bed that yes, Hollywood does make sequels, but they also do make originals. We just they no one goes out to see them. I try and see the original film as much as possible within my schedule and as much as I can allow it. But at the same time, we can't diss on Hollywood for making sequels because money talks.
Yeah.
And it's not show friends. As a pundit that I listen to, which I seem to take a lot of the pundits that he's little quotes here and there. He says, which I agree with, it's not show friends, it's show business. It's a business. They need to make money. They need to bring people in, and what brings in is familiar content, familiar IP familiar IP. There's a reason why Frozen 2 and Toy Story 5 is one of the highest animated franchises of all time, is because they are recognizable and they work. And Disney Pixar, like I said, they don't go into production with a sequel unless they have a good story to tell. Yeah. So I've rambled on a little bit there, but I want to throw some things to you. What do you think, firstly, about the sequels that have been announced? Well, and what's your opinion about the notion about people say about Hollywood always points out sequels and doesn't make anything original? What's your 2 cents on that?
A bit of both. It's Disney. You're in the game of advertising, marketing, whatever sells. It's like they'll keep making more Toy Stories, even though Toy Story 3 was meant to be the last one. But money talks. Okay, shit sells, merchandise sells. And they've got the stats to prove it. And then when people go on about Hollywood's not making anything original anymore, they are. Think of it like the music charts, okay? Right? How much music do you like that is being released but is not actually in the music charts? Okay? See, money talks. There's all the stuff that I'm into as well. So when the people are talking about they don't make anything original anymore, it's because what's making money at the moment is what's in the charts. Okay, so
what's popular?
Exactly, that's it.
What's recognizable by the audience?
The thing is, it's and so you're always going to get that vocal range of people going blah blah blah. But at the end, if you ignore the charts and you go digging deep into a streaming service, or you go to an art house cinema, and there's always something there. It's just you only see all those big ones because it's just promoted. It's in your face. That's all it is. Kind of like a music chart. So anyway, that's my thought. It's there. Everything is there. Original stuff and everything. You just got to look further.
I do agree. I do to an extent. I do like Toy Story. I don't think everyone. I think is like like the merchandising and the toys is not as big of a pull in as they used to be. Like I think
Oh,
certain franchises
mate,
don't bring them in and bring them.
Simpsons are like that too. They're, at the time of this recording, they've just completed 37 seasons, even though they've been renewed for to 40 seasons. They still make money. Like it doesn't rate as well, but merchandise, hey, I'm buying that shit. I'm still watching it.
Yeah, there's certain franchises like Star Wars and Simpsons, things like that. It will still bring things in like those, but I think certain franchises like Toy Story, because it's such an old franchise now, they don't get too much of that. They bank on. I think they. I don't think they would have gone into production with 5.
Monsters University and Monsters Inc. They did Monsters at Work. They did a spin-off TV series, and Star Wars are doing that. Well, they've done that with the spin-offs, the TV shows and everything.
Yeah, that like I'm saying, like they're doing.
It's all a marketing thing. It's all what makes money. So they'll find a way. And also, whenever they do IP stuff, they also got to make sure that they do it to keep their IP contracts renewed. Because if they lay something dormant for too long, or they don't re-release something or whatever, then in some cases, depending on who came up with the idea or whatever, they lose rights. And it's kind of like with Spider-Man. Sony will lose the Spider-Man world if they don't upkeep their...
If they don't go into production with the Spider-Man verse film within every 5 years and 9 months.
Yeah, exactly. And if they don't, then it reverts back to Marvel.
Back to Marvel, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so like I said there, I wanted to jump in. I just want to let you finish off your talking. I'm excited. I think we're bouncing off each other a bit cool. Yeah. But I do agree, and I just think that there is a lot of points to be made with this, and I think we both are right in that aspect. It's just that I don't like the idea of people thinking. I don't like the commentary of people saying there's nothing original being being made, because it's so many original concepts coming out these days that have been made, even out to this day, not just being animation but just theatrical films.
Yeah,
it's just because they don't have the big marketing budget like a Marvel film or Star Wars film has. They don't have as much reach. They are still bringing out trailers and they're still doing good marketing within the interviews and things like that. But people, because they're not recognizable, they won't go and give it a go because it's a bit of an unknown side of things. So I just wanted to gang on that. But the whole premise behind this topic was the fact that we're getting Incredibles 3, we're getting Monsters Inc. 3, and we're getting a Coco 2. So those are officially in production, and I'm really looking forward to all 3 of them, just seeing what they come on board. So
excellent. Thank you, Reece.
That was a bit of a lengthy one, but that is our Entertainment Honourable Mentions.
Yeah, I feel the energy just go out. Okay, while you take a breath, Reece, and don't rest now because you've got a review to dish out.
I do.
Chop, chop, chop.
Okay, so I saw a film on the weekend with my beautiful wife.
Hold on, can I do one thing? Hey, Reece! Matthew, Reece! No, it's not going to work.
I don't get it.
Because of what you watched.
Okay. I don't get it.
Never mind.
All right. So I saw this is a new release film, still in theaters as recording on this podcast, and it stars 2 Aussies. One of them is my Hollywood crush, and another one is a lot of people lately is he is a lot of
your
women
Hollywood
out there.
crush as well.
Actually, no, but a lot of women out there were finding him very attractive at the moment. I'm talking about Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi, and the new adaptation of Wuthering Heights.
Wuthering Heights. You said Wuthering Heights. Say it again.
Wuthering Heights?
Wuthering. W-U.
Yeah, no, Wuthering Heights.
Wuthering Heights.
Wuthering. Okay.
I'm talking about
Wuthering Heights in commas. Now, this film is directed by Emerald Fennell, and it's a brand new adaptation, and it's in quotations as it's her interpretation of the film. Now, I saw this film with my wife. We walked out of the film. I looked at her and I asked her, "What did you think?" And she goes, "If I didn't see this with you, I would have walked out half an hour in." So that just shows you a bit about what her thoughts about the film were. But we digress when it comes to that because there's a lot of films that are fantastic that my beautiful wife, when it comes to her acceptance of film and the industry, not the best of thoughts when it comes to films because it's very niche criteria when it comes to my wife liking films. But when it comes to all films, and they are all subjective, they all hit us all in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
I always would try and find the positives and negatives in films, and then I'll give my kind of overall. So
G'day,
I always,
Heafy.
yeah,
Heafy.
Evie. So
Heafy.
I will give you some positives that I liked about the film. Now, just to be upfront, I did not like this film. I didn't enjoy it. I gave this film 1.5 stars on my letterbox. So I did not enjoy this film. I would not be watching it again.
Wow.
But I want to at least give you some positives about what I took out of the film, which was positive. One of the positives, the positives were Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi did great performances. It was great to see them on screen. They made it. Their characters were believable. You believed everything that they did, and I didn't see Margot or Jacob within their characters, which is fantastic to see. I thought the young actor Owen Cooper, who recently has been killing it at the awards season for his portrayal in the Netflix limited series Adolescence. Or if I don't think it's a limited series anymore. The thing is continuing on, but he's been doing great, and he played a great young. Was it Wincliffe? I think the main character's name is
Heathcliff.
Heathcliff. Heathcliff. Um, he played a young Heathcliff, and I think he did a great job. So he should be commended as well. So Margot, Jacob Elordi, and Owen Cooper's character should be performances should be commended. I think some of the cinematography was beautiful. There were certain shots, especially when they shoot on there's certain angles of showing landscapes, looking over a mountainside to the sunset, and having certain silhouettes were very beautifully done, and I was very captivated. They very showed the world that they were trying to accomplish and things like that. So there was very much a lot of the production design, the costume design was fantastic. I found, well, I'm not saying fantastic, but they definitely were true to the era that they were trying to purvey. And like I said, the cinematography was, there's a lot of shots that I thought that was a beautiful shot. I liked the way that was done and how that was immersive as well. That's where my positives end. Now, when it comes to outside of the positives, I felt that it was very much drawn out a lot of point. The tone of the film was very dark and something very twisted. You felt very much you didn't really follow where they were trying to go and how if they were going to go as dark and deep as they thought they were going to go or not. Um,
That's a
there was a lot
disappointment.
of there was a lot of questionable choices when it comes to narrative points and choices that the characters did within the film. Now, this might be the fact that I'm not too familiar with the source material within the book, but I also found that by the time you get to I found I can follow it was pretty on point, but as soon as you get towards the end of the second act, going into the third act, the film takes a sudden turn and it goes a bit of a dark point, especially when it comes to um, Heathcliff's character. I'm not going to give anything away, but something happens with Heathcliff's character that kind of goes very turn, which I found it very jarring, and I felt it was a little bit out of the blue. You get reintroduced to him, and it feels like when you meet back up with Heathcliff and Margot Robbie's character, I think it's Claire. I think it's what's
Kathy.
the Kathy's character. Um, you kind of see two different characters. So you very much see them characters. They definitely see like with the space of time, they have definitely changed with with time being passed. And it was very jarring to get that. There was a lot of choices being made, a lot of dialogue being done that I didn't feel like was the characters that we met in the first two. And like even though I know that people can change over time. It was like a sort of abrupt, and the way that they showed certain things I didn't feel was really uncharacteristic. Um, how it ends, I believe it should be if it's done by the book. I didn't. I was so out of place and so awkward watching a lot of the points. I just didn't feel like I was walking out enjoying my
So,
time with it.
so the movie was a major letdown for you with the big
Yeah.
hype with two Aussies, and it's
Yeah.
produced by Margot Robbie's company.
Yes.
And you got two people who are from Gold Coast,
Yep.
and yet you're let down
Yeah.
from.
Well, I didn't know what I was expecting to go into it because the marketing makes it look it's going to be like a romance period piece. But then what I was watching with the marketing, with the interviews with the director, it pretty much said that there's a reason. She goes, "There's a reason why I put the title in commas." Now I know why,
Yeah.
because she's definitely made her adaptation to it, and this shouldn't surprise me because my friend, a friend of our podcast, um, got me to watch her other film called Saltburn, which is one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. That movie was horrible. I did not enjoy any minute of that. I finished watching the movie saying, "What the hell did I just watch?" And I'm getting the same feeling with this. So I'm thinking this is like the tone and style that this director has, and it's nothing against her. That's just her style. Sometimes you have a certain style of a director you like, and like I love the style of Christopher Nolan. I love his style of filmmaking, and I will go watch his style. Um, with this one, I just don't think now that's just 2 out of 2. I don't think I could go see another style of film of hers because I've had 2 films now where I've walked out of it, not feeling really great about it, and I don't know how I feel about it, and it's very off-putting in a way as well.
You know that Saltburn was also produced by Margot Robbie's production company?
I didn't know that, but
You now know.
okay, so now I know. But
And it
yeah,
stars Jacob
Jacob
Elordi.
Elordi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this film that's based off Emily Bonte's classic novel, for me, it was a letdown. But I'm also intrigued because there's been quite a few adaptations of this novel.
Oh,
So
and
I'm
sorry.
intrigued to go back and actually intrigued. Maybe going back and watching one of the recent other adaptations to see how I feel about them being interpreted in a different light.
But just to let you know, too, other movies, the production company that Margot Robbie co-runs with her husband is called
Yeah.
Lucky Chap Entertainment. And
Yes.
so they've done I, Tonya, Terminal, Dreamland, Birds of Prey, Promising Young Woman, The Humming of the Beast, Boston Strangler, Barbie, Saltburn, My Old Ass, and Borderline Wuthering Heights. And you know what?
So
Coming up,
they're getting a lot. So the production, Marco's doing a fantastic job with that production company.
oh, they're rebooting Tank Girl.
Never heard of it.
Ah, okay. And there's also they're doing a movie based on The Sims, as well as
Yes, I did hear about that one.
yeah. I can't believe they're going to remake Tank Girl
Never
or
heard of it.
reboot. Tank Girl is a movie from what year was it? 1995. So it's a cult retro classic.
Nice. Okay.
Anyway, sorry.
So yeah, but just to wrap things up with it, I was disappointed with it. I thought they swung for the fences, and I can understand some people maybe appreciating that and liking this defense these swings that the director took. I wasn't one of them, unfortunately. This film is very much based around a loving relationship from a young age and how it matures, and then and it goes into being a toxic relationship by the end, and how they can change us and manipulate us and force us to make decisions that we not normally make. So I can understand the undertones and the questions that presents to you to think about, but I just the way it was executed and the tone and the way the world that the director created, I don't think it just didn't
it
communicate to
didn't gel
me.
with you.
Unfortunately, this is a letdown for me. It is a disappointment. Part of me was intrigued about it. I was interested in seeing it mainly because Margot is my it girl for Hollywood.
Margot is your
Hall pass.
go.
I mean, she's my go. But yeah, so unfortunately, it was a disappointment. But like I said, there was a lot more negatives in that than there was pros. But that is just solely my opinion. If people out there are still intrigued about it, please go and do not deter me from sending you out there if you want to make your own opinions about the film. But if your film style and the way you like your film, way you like films is similar to what I've been saying on this podcast over these last few months, then I don't think I would recommend this film because it doesn't leave you with a happy thoughts in your mind. So
That's unfortunate.
that's a bit outside that. So that is my unfortunate review of Wuthering Heights. Just before we wrap things up, we're going to be wrapping things up, but I wanted to tease a little something for our audience. If you'll indulge me this,
sure.
I have a segment of going with this countdown again.
Sorry.
I have a segment that Matt and I have been discussing we're discussing offline about, and I want to bring it in because we are fans of film and films on this podcast. We love our films, and I want also to celebrate films and things like that. So as of coming up in the coming weeks, we're going to start a monthly segment, which we're going to call the anniversary. Now, the anniversary is where we're going to take a trip back down memory lane and go back in time and celebrate certain anniversaries that are coming up here in 2026 and go have a retrospect look back. And we're going to watch it and then we're going to review it and talk about it for a little bit and kind of celebrate some of the films that are celebrating their anniversary. So we can, the most recent one we'll go back to is 10 years. We're not going to go any more forward than that.
Where we're going is, let me just give you a drum roll so you can announce how far back we're going to go. You ready?
So we're going to go back as further, probably we can go as further back to maybe 45 years. We could go 50.
Too far back.
Too far back?
Or the first year that the first one that we're going back for is, drum roll again.
Budget cuts. Pretty sure it's a 30-year anniversary. 30-year anniversary. So
of the time of the recording of the episode.
Yes. So the film was released back in it was in June, 30 years ago, and we're coming up in a couple of weeks. We are going to be talking about The Phantom with Billy Zane. So we're going to be talking about that. So we know what Matt's opinion about that film is going to be presented as, but we're going to be talking about it. So Matt and I are going to sit down. We're going to watch the film just before we go on to before we record our podcast, and we're going to talk about it a little bit, and start our new segment called The Anniversary. So keep your eye open for that. If you also want to sit down and watch The Anniversary and have any commentary about it, please jump into the comments when we release that podcast episode, but it's coming up in the coming week. So keep your ears open for that.
Thank you very much, Reece. Well, it is time to say goodbye. Every time we say goodbye, I die a little. Every time we say goodbye, I wonder why a little.
I have no idea what you're singing right now.
I'm just singing Sideshow Bob. Anyway, so thank you very much, Reece, for indulging us with entertainment news as well as your review on Wuthering Heights. Please feel free to give us feedback through Spotify on our podcast, or email info@mygeekculture.com.au. This has been a Reece's Reviews podcast episode for mygeekculture.com.au. Yeah, produced by Matt Fulton Productions, mattfulton.com.au. Sorry, I'm tired. I'm Matt. Thanks for joining us, Reece. May the Schwartz be with you.
Have a great evening, weekend, whenever you're watching this podcast. Everyone, be kind to yourself, keep positive, and as always, my friends and family out there, may the Force be with you.